Welcome to Storytime. Today we're going to be reading a book called In My Heart, A Book of Feelings. This book is written by Joe Watek and illustrated by Christine Rousey. I look forward to reading this book of love with you all today. Now let's get ready for Storytime. In My Heart, A Book of Feelings. My heart is full of feelings, big feelings and small feelings, loud feelings and quiet feelings, quick feelings and slow feelings. My heart is like a house with all these feelings living inside. Sometimes my heart feels like a big yellow star, shiny and bright. I smile from ear to ear and twirled around so fast. I feel as if I could take off into the sky. This is when my heart is happy. Other times my heart feels strong. I stand up tall as if I can touch the clouds. New people and places don't frighten me. I can do it. Watch me go. This is when my heart is brave. When I get really angry, my heart feels as if it's going to explode. Don't come near me. My heart is yelling, hot and loud. This is when my heart is mad. But other times my heart is cool. I bob along gently like a balloon on a string. My heart feels lazy and slow, as quiet as snowfall. This is when my heart is calm. On harder days, mean words hurt my feelings, and my heart feels hurt too. It's fragile and delicate, but it can be healed with extra kisses. This is when my heart is broken. Some days my heart feels as heavy as an elephant. There's a dark cloud over my head, and tears fall like rain. This is when my heart is sad. But my heart doesn't stay sad. Like springtime after winter, the sun comes out again. My heart grows tall like a plant reaching toward the sky. This is when my heart is hopeful. Eek! When I see something scary, my heart beats fast. I feel cold as if a chilly breeze has crawled up my neck, and I run away as fast as I can. This is when my heart is afraid. When it's time for a bit of fun, my heart feels full of giggles and wiggles. Abracadabra, I hop around like a bouncy bunny. This is when my heart is silly. Sometimes I hide my heart away where no one can see, like my own small treasure. I don't want anyone to look at me. Safe on my swing, I can watch the world from up above. This is when my heart is shy. My heart can feel so many feelings, and yours can too. Today, my heart is proud. How does your heart feel? Look at all of the hearts, all of the feelings. Thank you so much for reading In My Heart with me today. I look forward to reading many more stories with you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great and beautiful day. Welcome to Story Time. Today we're going to be reading a book called Love is Bubblegum. This book is written by Kailyn Lowry. I hope you enjoy this book today. Now let's get ready for story time. Love is Bubblegum. Love comes in many forms, shapes, and sizes. We can love things, places, and people. Sometimes we can feel and show love without even saying it. That's very true. Love looks like a heart or bubblegum. Paige says, age 4. I feel love when I pet Gizmo, Isaac says. Love looks like a family, people who support each other, says Riley. Love means pulling people out of burning buildings, says Caden. Love is when someone protects and cares about you, says Alex. I know what love is when I'm happy and feel my heart pumping, says Caden. That's true too. All of these things are true. Love is my heart, and when I'm sad, it breaks. It doesn't look like anything. You just feel it, says Connor. Claire says your heart helps you give love, and love is a really good thing. Love looks like blue sparkles and chocolate. I know I love something when it looks and smells yummy, says Caitlin. Love is my mom and sisters reading me books before bed, says Piper. Love looks like ponies, mommy, and kittens, says Riley. Love is when mom gives us food, says Malia. Love looks like pizza, says Brayden. Love feels like the world stopped for a minute, says Bella. Love is when you go out of your way to do something nice for someone else, says Thaddeus. Love makes you feel happy because everyone you love is caring about you, says Mia. Love feels like eating an ice cream cone, says Colton. I love giraffes, says Sophie. It doesn't matter what's on the outside because you love people for what's on the inside, says Dylan. Love is many different things. Love is caring and it's very special. Most importantly, love is love. The end. Thank you so much for reading Love is Bubblegum with me. I look forward to reading my next story with you all, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day. Welcome to Storytime. Today we're going to be reading a book called Roses Are Pink, Your Feet Really Stink. This book is written by Diane deGroat, and I look forward to reading this fun book with you all today. Now let's get ready for story time. Roses are pink, your feet really stink. There they were, 15 blank Valentine cards waiting to be filled with nice Valentine poems. They were sitting on the kitchen table in a pile as high as Gilbert's nose. Mrs. Bird had told them to write something nice for each classmate because Valentine's Day was about liking each other. Gilbert liked Patty a lot. She had smiley eyes and a silly laugh that made Gilbert feel silly too. He picked out the biggest card and wrote inside, Roses are red, violets are blue. Your eyes are nice, and I like you. Gilbert. Gilbert also liked Frank. Frank let Gilbert use his baseball mitt once when Gilbert forgot to bring his own. On Frank's card, he wrote, Your name is Frank. It isn't Hank. You lent me your mitt, so you I thank. Gilbert. This is fun, Gilbert thought. He continued to write nice Valentine poems until there were 2 cards left, one for Louis and one for Margaret. Gilbert didn't want to write a nice poem for Louis. Louis once tweaked Gilbert's nose until it turned red. He didn't want to write a nice poem for Margaret either. Margaret made fun of Gilbert's glasses, so he didn't write nice poems. Nobody wrote. On Louis's card, he wrote, Violets are blue, roses are pink. Your feet are big, and they really stink. Gilbert thought the poem was funny, but maybe Louis wouldn't. Maybe he would tweak Gilbert's nose when he read it. Gilbert didn't want Louis to tweak his nose again, so he didn't sign his name. He signed it Margaret. On Margaret's card, he wrote, "Roses are red, you wet your bed. I think that you have rocks in your head." Gilbert liked the poem, but he didn't think Margaret would. He didn't want Margaret to say mean things to him again, so he signed the card Louis. On Valentine's Day, Gilbert walked to school with 15 cards and a tin of Valentine cookies that his mother had baked for the party. Mrs. Bird let everyone open their cards. One of Gilbert's cards had X's all over the envelope, so he opened it first. It said, "Roses are red, violets are blue. You are my friend, and I like you." It was signed Patty. Gilbert smiled at Patty, and Patty giggled back. Gilbert opened the rest of his cards. They were all very friendly. Even Louis had written a poem for him. "You may be small, you're not very tall, but I like the way that you play ball. Louis." Gilbert was happy that Louis liked the way he played ball, and Margaret wrote, "Sometimes you are very sweet. I hope you brought nice cookies to eat. Love, Margaret." Gilbert smiled to himself. Margaret thought that he was very sweet. He looked over at Margaret. She wasn't happy with one of her valentines. She stuck her tongue out at Louis. Louis wasn't happy with one of his valentines either. He stuck his tongue out at Margaret. Margaret pushed Louis. Louis called Margaret a bad name. Mrs. Bird said, "Quiet, please. Valentine's Day is about liking each other, not about fighting." She made the class do workbooks for the rest of the morning. Everyone was mad at Louis and Margaret, even Gilbert. When it was reading time, Margaret looked through all of her valentines again and said, "I have two valentines from Louis, a good one and a bad one." Louis said, "I didn't write a bad one. Someone else wrote my name." He looked through his own pile of cards and said, "I have two valentines from Margaret and none from Gilbert." Then he shouted, "Oh no! Gilbert wrote the bad cards and signed our names." And Mrs. Bird said, "Quiet, please." At lunch, nobody wanted to sit near Gilbert, not even Patty. He had to sit all by himself. When he peeked over his carrot and banana sandwich, he could see Patty and Louis giggling at their table. Gilbert wondered if Louis thought Patty had smiley eyes and a silly laugh too. He saw Margaret eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich like she did every day. Gilbert liked peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and wished that he was. Welcome to Solo Storytime. Today we're going to be reading a book called The World Needs Who You Were Made to Be. This book is written by Joanna Gaines and illustrated by Julianna Swaney. I look forward to reading this book with you all today. Now let's get ready for story time. The world needs who you were made to be. Today is a day for the ride of our lives, when a confetti of color will fill up the sky. Plenty of pink, a bounty of blue, and orange, green, and yellow too. We all play a part, both me and you, as we build our very own hot air balloons. We'll gather supplies and make them our own and prepare to take flight into the great unknown. It doesn't take us long to see that we all work so very differently. Like everybody has their own way of working, and that is okay. Some of us work alone, and some of us work side by side. And some of us are quiet and like to think things through, and others prefer to chit chat about all we have to do. Some of us think through every possibility before we jump in, And some of us know what we like before we even begin. Sometimes we're scientific and rely on our smarts. Sometimes we're creative and lean into the arts. Some of us are resourceful. We like to work with whatever's on hand. And some of us are extravagant. We like to go big whenever we can. Some of us are teachers and share what we know, but all of us are learners. Together is how we grow. That's so true. So by now, you can probably see how we all work so very differently. We've done our very best, and now it's time to fly. See how beautiful it can be when our differences share the same sky? Look at all the balloons. They're so beautiful. We may not look or work or think the same, but we all have an important part to play. All of us can be kind, compassionate, and gracious. All of us can be helpful, considerate, and courageous. So remember who you are. This is your life to live. Don't ever hold back. You have so much to give. You're one of a kind, and it's so clear to see the world needs who you were made to be. The end. Thank you so much for reading The World Needs Who You Were Made to Be. I look forward to reading more stories with you, so don't forget to like and subscribe. And check back often because I do upload 2 new books every week. Have a beautiful day. Welcome to Storytime. Today we're going to be reading a book called A Bear to Share. This book is written by Jessica Alba, Sawyer Patricof, Norah Weinstein, and illustrated by Alicia Más. I look forward to reading this book with you all today. Now let's get ready for story time. A Bear to Share. Tiana loved her teddy bear. His name was Bok the bear, and he was absolutely, positively perfect. Bok was the only bear for her. There was a lot that made Bok special. He had one eye because when Tiana was little, she carried him around by the eyeball until one day it popped clean off, but she didn't mind. His fur was worn down from Tiana holding him close to her heart, but she still thought he was soft and cuddly. He had stuffing coming out of his neck. Tiana didn't actually know why he had stuffing coming out of his neck, but it gave him pizzazz. In fact, she named him Bok the Bear because when Tiana placed him on top of her toy piano, he made every note sound better. They lived together in perfect harmony. Then one day, without any warning at all, Tiana's mom yelled, "Surprise! Look what Aunt Maria got you. She thought you'd love a new bear." Tiana didn't understand. "But Mom, what about Bach?" "Hmm. Honey, I know you love Bach, but don't you think it's time to make room for another bear? Bach has one eye, his fur is all worn down, and he's all, well, unstuffed." Tiana looked at Bach the bear. Then she looked at the new bear. He had both his eyes, he was fluffy, and he was super stuffed. It did make her wonder. Hmm. Tiana woke up for school and couldn't wait to talk to her best friend Timothy. She spotted him on the monkey bars immediately because Timothy was wearing the same overalls he wears most days. Timothy was the best climber on the playground. Luckily, he was the best listener too, because this was an emergency. You won't believe what my mom said, Tiana started to explain to him. Timothy, like Tiana, didn't understand either. I guess Mom thinks Bach is too old and worn out. Maybe she thinks he's lost his music. Well, I've never had a teddy bear, so Bach always seemed pretty great to me. Tiana was shocked. Why didn't you just ask your parents for a teddy bear? She asked. They say we can't afford it. Toys aren't a priority, Timothy said every part of the last word very carefully while looking down at his shoes. For the first time ever, Tiana didn't know what to say. She wished Timothy could have a teddy bear too. Mom, Tiana said when they were on their way home, did you know Timothy has never, ever, ever, ever had a teddy bear? You know, we're very lucky, Mom said. We have enough money to take care of you and some left over for nice things, like toys. It's not fair that I have two bears and Timothy has zero bears. All families are different, honey. Some have less, some have more, and some have just enough, Mama said, holding Tiana's hand softly. And although things can be unfair and unequal, it doesn't mean we can't do something about it. Tiana finally started to understand. What do you think she's going to do? She looked at Bach carefully. He only had one eye because she loved him so much. His fur was all worn down because she loved him so much. His stuffing was coming out of his neck. She still didn't know why, but she still loved him so much. Then Tiana had an idea. A big idea. Mom, what if we give Timothy the new bear, even if he's old and used up? Buck is my bear. Tiana knew Timothy deserved a bear to love and make his own. One with both of its eyes and all of its stuffing so he could feel as special as she did when she got Buck. Her mom smiled at her. I love that idea, baby girl. When Tiana gave Timothy the new teddy bear, he looked so happy. It was like a candle lit up inside him, making him shine. It made Tiana feel like she was shining too, like she had received a gift instead of giving one. Timothy named the bear Billy because he loves jazz. The new bear was Timothy's perfect match. And they all played together in perfect harmony. The end. Thank you so much for reading this book with me today, A Bear to Share. I hope you like and subscribe so you know when I'm going to read my next story. Thank you so much. Have a great day.